Welcome back to Applied Wisdom, Literature for Living Better.
Great to be back.
Today, we're doing a deep dive into the thinking of Naval Ravikant. We're drawing from the Almanack of Naval Ravikant, plus lots of his other discussions and interviews.
And this is really for you, the learner, if you're on that personal growth path, looking for, well, knowledge you can actually use quickly, but without sacrificing depth.
Exactly. We want to unpack some of his key ideas, things around happiness, wealth, self-awareness.
And the goal really is to pull out the actionable stuff. What can you actually do with these ideas?
Right. So let's jump straight in. Happiness. Naval has a maybe slightly unconventional take on it.
He really does. He kind of pushes back against the idea that it's all down to your genes or what happens to you.
He frames it more like a skill, something you can cultivate.
Exactly. Or even like poetry, not an algorithm. Meaning it's personal, it's maybe a bit creative, not just a formula you follow.
I like that. And he makes this really important distinction, doesn't he? Between just feeling good, pleasure, and that deeper thing, contentment.
Definitely. It's not about constantly chasing the next high. It's more about reaching a state right here, right now, where you feel like nothing is really missing.
That's a powerful idea.
And the actionable part there is, well, start paying attention. Notice those moments when you do feel content. What's going on?
What contributes to that feeling?
Right. And can you maybe deliberately create more of those conditions in your life? It's about awareness, really.
Makes sense. Just noticing.
Yeah.
Now, another thing Naval does is challenge some common beliefs, things we just sort of accept.
Oh, absolutely. He's big on questioning societal narratives, like the classic, money won't make you happy.
Which has truth to it.
But he adds nuance, right? He'd say, well, maybe money itself isn't happiness, but not having it, that definitely causes unhappiness. It removes stressors. It buys freedom.
Provides a foundation, maybe?
Exactly. Or take schooling. He questions whether it's primarily about education or perhaps more about, fitting into society, a kind of indoctrination.
It forces you to think, what else have I just accepted without really examining it?
And that's the takeaway, isn't it? Pick one of those deeply held societal beliefs you've got.
Just one?
Yeah, start with one. And then ask yourself, does my own experience actually back this up? What have I really seen? It can be quite freeing to do that.
Let's shift gears to wealth, because his definition is quite specific. It's not just about having loads of cash.
Not at all. For him, wealth means assets that earn while you sleep. Think businesses, investments, maybe intellectual property, things that work for you passively.
And that's different from status, right?
Totally different. Status, he says, is zero sum. For you to gain status, someone else often has to lose it. It's a competitive ladder.
Whereas wealth creation, done right, is positive sum.
Yes. Ethical wealth creation is about making abundance for the world. You create something valuable, people pay for it, everyone benefits. You're making the pie bigger, not just fighting over slices.
So how do you actually do that? What are the keys?
He boils it down to a few things. First, specific knowledge. This isn't just stuff you learn in school. It's unique knowledge you build, often out of genuine curiosity or passion, something that can't be easily trained.
Okay, specific knowledge. What else?
Accountability. You need to be willing to take risks, usually business risks, under your own name. Own the outcomes, the good and the bad.
Skin in the game.
Exactly. And third, leverage. Using tools to magnify your efforts. Historically, that was labor or capital.
Of now.
Now, the big ones are code and media. Software you write once can serve millions. Content you create can reach a huge audience with almost zero marginal cost. That's massive leverage.
So for anyone listening, think about where your real curiosity lies. That thing you'd learn about just for fun.
That could be the seed of your specific knowledge.
Right. And then how could you develop that and use leverage, maybe code, maybe media, to create something valuable for other people?
It's a powerful framework. And, building that kind of knowledge and wealth, it often ties into another core idea of his long-term thinking.
Ah, yes, playing the long game.
Exactly. He argues that the really big returns in life, in wealth, sure, but also in relationships, in learning, they all come from compound interest. And compounding only works over time.
Or you need to stick with things. Play.
Yes, iterated games built on trust. He has that great line. Play long-term games with long-term people. Essentially, long-term players make each other rich in every sense.
That makes you think differently about interactions.
He does. So the actionable bit here is pick one important area, maybe a relationship, a project, a skill, and consciously apply a long-term perspective. Ask yourself, how does thinking 10, 20 years out change my decisions today?
Interesting. Okay, so if we need specific knowledge and long-term focus, how does Naval suggest we actually learn effectively?
He really emphasizes understanding the foundations. Master the basics, first things like mathematics, logic, maybe basic economics or persuasion.
The underlying principles.
Right, because they apply across many different fields. He cautions against getting bogged down in surface level opinions or facts that aren't built on solid ground. Avoid the noise.
That he's huge on reading, isn't he?
Oh, definitely. But not just any reading. He famously advised, read what you love until you love to read.
So follow your curiosity first to build the habit.
Exactly. Ignite that desire. Because the means of learning books, internet, they're abundant. It's the desire to learn that's scarce. And once you love reading, read the great books, the foundational texts, and read them slowly. Really absorb them.
So a takeaway could be find just a little time each day, maybe 15, 20 minutes.
Perfect. Dedicate it to reading something in an area that genuinely interests you, maybe something foundational. Pick one book and just start slowly.
Good advice. All right, let's talk about time, our most limited resource. Naval has some pretty direct advice here.
He does. He suggests setting an aspirational hourly rate for yourself.
A high one.
Yeah, what would you want your time to be worth, even if it's not there yet? And then use that rate as a filter.
How so?
Well, if you can outsource a task for less than your aspirational rate, you should probably do it. If an activity or meeting isn't going to yield value comparable to that rate, maybe don't do it.
Be ruthless with your calendar.
Pretty much. Protect your time. Be too busy for low-impact stuff. Decline meetings. That could be emails. Keep your calendar as clear as possible to allow for deep work and, just thinking.
So, action item. Look at your regular tasks. Is there one thing you do that you could realistically outsource or maybe just stop doing entirely?
And think about what you'd actually do with that reclaimed time. More deep work, more learning, more rest.
Makes sense. Now, earlier you mentioned status games being zero-sum. Naval warns about getting caught in those traps, right?
He sees them as a distraction, mostly. Trying to signal virtue or climb social ladders often involves putting others down, implicitly or explicitly.
It doesn't actually create anything new.
Exactly. It just rearranges the existing hierarchy. He encourages focusing that energy instead on creating actual wealth, actual value, positive sum activities.
So maybe take a moment to reflect. Areas in your life where you might be playing status games, prioritizing how things look over genuine growth or contribution.
And how could you shift that focus towards creation instead?
This all seems to lead back to knowing yourself really well. Self-awareness.
Absolutely fundamental for Naval. You have to understand what you truly want deep down, and also what you're naturally good at, what feels like play to you but looks like work to others.
Because,
as he says, no one can beat you at being you. Your unique combination of skills, interests, and perspectives is your edge. Authenticity lets you escape competition.
you find your own niche where you're the best.
Precisely. So the invitation here is to spend some real time reflecting. What are your unique strengths? What are you genuinely passionate about?
And how can you align more of your life, your work, your decisions with that authentic self?
It's a continuous process.
Okay, almost there. Let's touch on acceptance and desire. This feels crucial for that happiness piece we started with.
It really is. Naval points out that a lot of our suffering comes from reality not matching our desires. The gap between what is and what we want.
So acceptance is key.
Acceptance of reality, yes. Not resignation, maybe, but acknowledging what's true right now. And he has this striking definition of desire. Desire is a contract you make with yourself to be unhappy until you get what you want.
Wow. That makes you think twice about wanting things.
Right. He suggests being very deliberate about your desires. Perfect them, choose them carefully. Maybe pick just one big overarching desire at a time to focus on, rather than scattering your energy and creating multiple sources of potential unhappiness.
So if you're feeling unhappy about something right now,
Try to trace it back. What's the underlying desire? Is it clashing hard with reality?
and then what? Can you practice accepting the reality? Or maybe reevaluate if that desire is even serving you anymore?
Exactly those questions. It's about conscious engagement with your own desires.
And ultimately, Naval kind of brings it all back home, doesn't he?
Yeah.
After all the talk of wealth and achievement.
He often says that when you get wealthy, you realize it wasn't the point anyway. What truly matters, foundationally, is your health. Physical, mental, spiritual wellness, your relationships, your love.
And having a sense of mission, something you're working towards.
Right. Health, love, and mission. He advises focusing on quality there, too, with diet and exercise. Prioritize your well-being above almost everything else.
So maybe a final actionable step for today. Just identify one small thing you can do. right now or later today.
Doesn't have to be huge.
No, just one small step to improve your physical or mental health. A short walk, 5 minutes of quiet, drinking a glass of water, anything.
A good place to land.
Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the really thought-provoking wisdom of Naval Ravikant.
Yeah, hopefully these insights and the actionable steps we've discussed give you something valuable for your own journey.
Remember, it's always ongoing, isn't it? Learning, applying these ideas, seeing what works for you.
Keep exploring, keep reflecting.
Stay tuned for our next deep dive on applied wisdom, literature for living better. And if you found value in this conversation, please do like and subscribe. It genuinely helps us reach more listeners. Thanks for tuning in.